Some games may seem like they're meant to be played on old hardware, but Deltarune makes it painfully clear that it's not. You know something? I'm gonna try it anyway. So I was gonna say we're gonna play as much of Deltarune as we possibly can on this Panasonic 4-way portable black and white mini TV. The model number is TR5111T. And yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna play as much as we can to see which part of the game is gonna break first. But to be honest, it is already crunchy, you guys. I don't think we're gonna last very long. But alright, this little mini beast of a TV, this was my dad's actually. And so I'll begin by saying, may he please rest in peace. We did lose my dad in June of 2025, but this was one thing that I recovered just among his stuff that he left behind. And there's something about this TV I've just been like obsessed with, and that's seeing how games look and how do they play on this, because look at that. We are starting off strong, ladies and gentlemen, right here, and I've actually never played Deltarune, but many of the characters from this game I've met before, and so I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, just because I want to soak this in a bit and enjoy this part right here. A red wagon. All right, we got a little wagon in our room and a console. But you know, this was a suggestion from you guys actually in the comments to play this game, and so I thought that was really cool because we are getting back to your suggestions more. You know, I did a few games that kind of maybe hit like anniversaries, you know, on this day this game came out, or something really important and meaningful that I needed to do. But now we are back again to doing your suggestions, like I said. And so let's do this. I can definitely notice, you know, it's like for anybody that's new around here, we can explain this, but any of you guys that have seen my videos before, you've probably noticed that like the most crunchy times have always been sort of two things, right? Which is during like start menus, you know, the starting screen of these games, it'll show like the logo and then the companies that made them, usually in like retro games, right? And then it has like a start, you know, press start here or whatever. See, look at this. This is what I was gonna say. Oh my gosh, the crunch. We use that word crunchy to describe that. Yeah, it goes flickery and crazy, static, etc. But the other time that we see this most often is during like dark moments. And so if you want to say maybe just like near black environments, and let me tell you, near black imagery is CRT kryptonite. You know, especially a TV like this that comes from 1984. My dad had it and used it in the 80s and 90s. You know, it's a black and white TV. It's a small surface, and there's, you know, phosphor. You should look this up. PHOSPHOR. Phosphors. Like the small surface for that. Analog signal right here. Yeah, we're starting to get crunch. Oi. It kind of hurts. And yeah, this almost looks like an effect of the game though. Like look at it shaking. You know, right here. It's like a little nervous energy with Alfie's right now. How do I know Alfie's name? I have created most of these characters in Scribblenauts Unlimited. So I have another channel, and yeah, we'll get back to the TV in a second. I wanted to kind of get this point across because I said that I had met so many of these characters, and what you're seeing on the left side of the screen is actually a painting that I did in a game and made it into a canvas. And so the game was Passepartout. It's that very like French sounding title for that painting game, you know, the starving artist game. Maybe you guys have seen it, I don't know. But yeah, on my other channel, it's Dr. Kendo Commentaries. That's like the actual channel handle or whatever. I did like a decade plus long Scribblenauts Unlimited series. So, you know, people would suggest things like, hey, can you make Sonic? Can you make Papyrus in that case? Or then it got to Deltarune eventually when that game came out. But, you know, I started this all the way back in 2012. So imagine the things people were asking for, you know, back then, SpongeBob and whatever. I guess SpongeBob wasn't even new then. But yeah, they just, I must have made like 800 episodes of that series or something, and just hundreds or over 1,000 creations in that game. And so that channel ended up hitting 200,000 subscribers, and then it kind of died off and whatnot. I did a few other content things here and there, and then I made this channel. You know, I was just thinking, again, with the death of my dad and like being obsessed with this TV, it really needed its own place. We're always about like telling stories here and stuff, and so sometimes the stories, clearly, they can go very far back, you know, 80s and 90s. I hate saying that's very far back, but yeah, I am that old. But maybe they go back just to the 2012 to 2000, I don't know, I guess it was like 2020 something when it started to die off. But yeah, I also painted that Papyrus this, and so I have some like, Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale paintings and whatnot that I did in that game and then made them into these like small canvases. For perspective, this little TV is 5.6 inches by 5.6 inches, and that's all the size you need. So if we get back to Deltarune here, it's like that's how I've met some of these characters, Alfie, Susie, Chris, of course. There was a few others. K-Round, I think, is in this game, right? Lancer, so I'm sure I'll meet some more of these that I have created in Scribblenauts and whatnot and recognize them hopefully immediately. This game and Undertale, they use like a huge just kind of black field with usually thinner like white sprites and text and stuff. So if you think of it like black and white in that respect, it's not typical grayscale. What I'm talking about is literal colors of black and white. So I guess in CRT land, they have this automatic gain control instability when the TV's kind of like hunting for those brightness levels of like black and white. That you get that flicker and the rolling static, in the menus for that reason a lot of the times on older games. But in a game like this, exactly what we've said, right? The signal is not necessarily bad. I'm sure some of it is like the signal. Did you see that? Like static flinging around here is the best word I can describe, maybe. I think most of the time the signal is like technically fine. The TV just doesn't really know what to do with some of those like flatter blacks or like low contrast transitions and stuff. And then with this game, very much like sharp white on black UI elements and stuff. Of course, right here, we are in the overworld. It's just obviously the like text appears, but look at how much black is all around this, right? Like there's just straight up black. So that's part of the style though. Like that's part of what we love, right? About Undertale, Deltarune. And so I know that they made old CRTs like this. They were definitely tuned for watching like sports and your sitcom kind of lighting and whatnot. Your late night talk shows maybe like my dad would watch. Probably not a more minimalist style like indie game and whatnot. I don't know. So Deltarune, perhaps unintentionally, is exposing this weakness, right? I don't know if Toby Fox ever considered somebody playing this on a kind of lesser CRT. Now, I say that with the utmost respect because, again, I'm obsessed with this TV, and a lot of you guys have been calling it, a peak and a dope TV and just showering it with praise. So I love that the TV is kind of the other star of this channel here with me. But yeah, you guys, the crazy thing is, like, while we're seeing the crunch, I don't think it's gotten as bad yet. I know that it definitely, like, I'm curious about what happens when there's combat. That's all just black and white, right? Like, we're at least seeing a little bit of the brighter parts of Deltarune right now, I would imagine. In doing my research, though, for Scribblenauts Unlimited, I do know just obviously what Deltarune looks like, because also Undertale as well, like the similarities with that. And I guess I'm just saying that while I don't need to have played the games necessarily to know this, it's like most of us will know that these games, their art style is this way. It's that certain way. It's going to be black on white in a literal sense. And man, Susie just straight up bullying us, you guys. Susie is hardcore. And one thing I can say is that I do try to tell at least one or two stories of the past. And so, yeah, we gave the YouTube channel one, but I kind of wanted to talk also about childhood, is that, we're getting bullied around right here. So it just made me kind of think of sometimes the stories are like very loose to the game, and sometimes they're very relevant and like extremely relevant, actually. But no, this one, lightly relevant to the bullying topic, is there was this kid that definitely bullied me when he was in 5th grade. I was in 4th, and it was like basically no reason. Like the kid was in my neighborhood, so I don't remember if he knew exactly where I lived and stuff, but the screen, I needed to kind of have a disclaimer about that, is that if you ever do kind of get like right now, this is where the crunchiness is coming in, I guess, because we are getting a darker image on screen. I'll get back to my story, but man, I was ultimately going to say, if you're feeling a sense of like motion sickness or any kind of just problem looking at this, I definitely encourage you to either close your eyes and listen to this if you want to keep hearing the story. I won't be offended if you stop viewing, but man, I would really appreciate if you keep viewing. You know how YouTube works, right? Okay, the game is officially broken. Okay, we broke it, you guys. We have officially broken the game.
Who broke it?
Look at that. But the other thing you could focus your eyes on maybe is Papyrus over there on the left, my little painting. It goes a little higher. It's just like taller than the TV. I just had to cut off basically Papyrus's forehead right there, just in the video frame. So the painting goes on. Like, don't worry. But yeah, oh my God, we cannot. I'm trying to just move. Yeah, horrible. I cannot believe this. Are you guys seeing this? Well, not if you closed your eyes or look somewhere else, but yeah. So the dude that bullied me when he was in 5th and I was in 4th, like, again, we didn't really have interactions and stuff. I remember one time my dad was driving and he was like playing with a friend in the road, like it was in the street in our neighborhood, and my dad like gestured to him to move, you know, as he like stopped for him or whatever, and the kid wouldn't move, so he like honked really quick, and then the kid just like flipped him off, and my dad was like, I probably should have told his parents, but you know, I was afraid that they would defend him, you know, so that was like a thing my dad often said later on, is like, yeah, they would defend him, you know, so it's like, man, my dad wasn't gonna put up the fight, was he? I don't know, maybe, you know, you pick and choose your battles. I picked a crazy battle today. Look at this. I can read some of this, but hey, we gotta save this. We got to save right here because, man, I hope to actually make this transition as light as possible, but I am going to commentate this in post now. So, transition. No, it was just literally a transition of me, like, away from the game. So now I just kind of let myself play the game, and now I'm commentating over this in post. I've got to tell you guys, I know hopefully you didn't notice anything, I guess. It was insane. It got really, it just got too crunchy, actually. You'll see where we ended, basically, but I'm going to make, like, a few cuts and stuff in editing, and now just kind of have this commentary for the rest of it. You know, we got probably about 5 or 6 minutes left of commentary, and so I just kind of wanted to say that, like, wow, you know, playing it on this old TV, this is almost like a feature that it's this bad, I guess. The worst game that we had played so far on the channel, and doing, like, I don't know, about 30 games so far, maybe 20 games, is Gauntlet Legends on Nintendo 64. I think that one held the record. It got the crunchiest, dude. Playing on some of those levels of Gauntlet Legends on N64, they got very dark, the lighting was very bad, and so again, that contrast is stuff that I was talking about before. It's like one of the best that you guys resonated with the most in viewing, and like that took off on the channel, was playing Ultra Kill. Like, it succeeded and it fought the TV and it won, you know, but I think I can say very clearly that Deltarune, it is fascinating, but it loses, you know. Deltarune definitely fights the TV and loses the battle. Look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. So what I really want you guys to see, we'll definitely make sure to do this. I don't know how I did this, by the way. I actually did it kind of fast, as there's like a little puzzle here, evidently, and I think it's supposed to be pretty simple, but when you can only see this, when your vision is just what you just saw, right? It is incredibly weird. Like, I just had to kind of be a shot in the dark and be blind in doing it. So when people say like a blind playthrough, this is probably giving it new meaning, isn't it? But yeah, I definitely respect Deltarune. I definitely want to play more of it outside of doing this, right? Definitely give it its due and play it on a machine that will handle it just fine. You would think that it would actually go really quite okay on this. I think it's just this TV is a little bit smaller. Like, you could probably even play it on CRTs of the older days than the 80s, right? Like, you could probably play it on a 60s and 70s TVs and it'll be fine on certain ones. It's just this one, it's something about this TV because it's happened before, right? And yeah, so hey, you are about to see it, because yeah, we'll get just like moments of temporary clarity, and then no, it just is shaky, it's finicky, it's absolutely stuttering, and it's just crazy, you guys. And so aside from creating all these characters that I met them before, like I said, in Scribblenauts and in Passepartout painting and stuff, I also met them through Animal Crossing. Like, I did a Undertale Animal Crossing thing. It was like creating, you know, custom designs of sands and papyrus and whatever else people wanted to see. And so yeah, it's kind of crazy when you have to dodge things. You do have to dodge these, right? Because I remember I was just like, wait, am I getting hurt by those? I'm not going to take the chance. But yep, Chris, get down here and hope that it will last. But no, the game consistently breaks at some of the worst times too, right? Like, where you're like, I really want to dodge that. I really want to engage, you know, if it's combat, we just can't see it. So I guess I just spoiled it, right? We didn't quite get to the combat, but it's coming up. It is definitely coming up soon, isn't it? So in front of you, there's a big castle, and so we are going to get to the part where it's going to be Ralse. You guys, I never actually learned. I said I've met these characters before, but there are a few of them that I'm just like, wait, how do you pronounce that? And nobody corrected me somehow. So maybe you guys can, but yeah, let's check it out. And so Lancer comes up and absolutely spits in our faces, right? So like I said, I'm going to try to make a few cuts because I don't want you guys to just only stare at this. But most of what we have now looks like this. It is absolutely broken.
I'm not mad. I just want to know.
You know, this TV has done pretty well on some of the, like, when you play a modern game, or even, like, let's go back to, we played NBA Hang Time recently. There was also one with Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, you know. Some of those games came out wonderfully on this, but geez, I don't know if this is what you guys wanted to see, the crunch, but definitely, we found out that we are Captain Crunch today, right? That's what we need to start calling this, right? We need some crunchy puns. So we'll probably end it here soon, but I do apologize. I was just jumping around all over the place, wasn't I? I feel like I didn't even finish that story of the bully. That kid's name was Timmy, and I remember one time he was just saying, he's like, Kendo, you're a jerk. And I don't know why he said that. You know, I didn't say anything to him. It was just very strange. I think he was just hurting, you know. I'm sure his house life must have not been great. There was something not great in his life, right? To turn to bullying me. And listen, a ladybug could beat me up, so back then and now. And this kid was huge. Like, there was pretty much probably nothing I could do. It's weird how back in the days we didn't really tell people, you know, and we had a bully, we didn't like tell the teacher, we didn't tell an adult, you know, we just kind of had to deal with it. But I'd be so worried if my son now had a bully and didn't say anything, you know what I mean? But you know something, like I said before, sometimes we just gotta pick and choose our battles, and sometimes on this channel, we actually battle with the game, and I can leave you with some wise words. You win some, you lose some, but you live to fight another day.